All right, Rabbi, so I want to continue today. Yesterday we did the sugya of a 3-day Purim, but I want to just discuss briefly, and then moving on to some of the other shilas that are more negated to us, and that is if you have a Purim on a Friday, which we've had many times, and we will be having Be'ez Hashem, I think, next year. But for those of you that are going Chutz Yerushalayim, this is very negated. By the way, don't travel. Of course you could travel, but don't travel and stay over. If you stay there too long, you become a Ben Yudalid. If you become a Ben Yudalid, you have to listen to the Megillah, which is the same, because we all do it the same day anyway this year. But you also have to give Shlach Manas Batanas Evyonim and eat a Suda with all the halachos of Chaya Inish that we said last time. So, don't stay over. If you do travel, don't stay there. Go there and come back. Don't stay there overnight. Every single year I say the same thing here. And every single year I get a phone call at like 11 o'clock in the morning, Rebbe, I just woke up, I think I'm in Beit Shemesh. That's unbelievable. Every single year. But I think this year you've got to be more careful, obviously, because of Shabbos and everything else. So, the problem basically this year that we have, for those of you outside Yerushalayim, and for those of you that will be visiting people outside Yerushalayim, is a Suda on Erev Shabbos. Now, the general halacha is that you're not allowed to make a Suda on Erev Shabbos. Now, how do we know this? Because of a Gemara in Gittin Daf Lamed Beis. Where the Gemara in Gittin Daf Lamed Beis brings a Maisa of a family that was totally destroyed. And they asked, why was this family totally destroyed? And the answer was because they were Kivei Suda on an Erev Shabbos. Now the obvious question is, okay, that's where we learned it from, but where did they know it from? So I guess the idea is, Erev Shabbos is not a time to be Kivei Suda, because it detracts from the covered Shabbos of having the Suda on Shabbos. Now there are many halachas that are negated to this, and maybe we'll have to discuss this in halacha share. Give you one example of a common shaila. A guy goes to a hotel for a few days, he goes for Shabbos and he arrives there on a Wednesday, Thursday. Friday morning, Kanai Nahora, what, they have a breakfast over there. I mean, in a Chanama, we get that in Yeshiva, but in a regular, normal home, you don't get what they give in a hotel on a Friday morning. So, what heta do you have to have a Suda on an Erev Shabbos bigger than a regular Suda that you have on a regular Erev Shabbos? So if you normally have a cereal or you normally have a roll, then fine. But you don't normally have, all the different types of cheeses and the different types of salads and the yogurts and the cereals and the pancakes and the waffles and the eggs. It's not Nageya. But on Erev Shabbos, in a hotel, could be it's Nageya, and therefore you have to be careful because it's Erev Shabbos, you're not allowed to have a Suda. So the problem is basically like this. The Ramah says that because of Kovet Shabbos, there's a mitzvah to prevent yourself from washing on an Erev Shabbos. But however, if you have a Suda that the Zman of the Suda is Erev Shabbos, then it is mutter in that case. L'chatchila have it in the morning, the Mishnah Berurah says, before Chatzos. And it's interesting, the Ramah in Seba Tofrei Study Hey by Hilchos Purim says what happens if Purim falls on a Friday, which it happens quite often, has happened and will happen and is happening outside Yerushalayim this year, is make a Suda in the morning because of Kovet Shabbos, which means try to wash before Chatzos. That's what it is. The Aruch HaShulchan says you only have to start before Chatzos, you don't have to finish then. And also a person shouldn't fill himself up too much because he should try to make sure he fills a little bit of space for Shabbos. So if you are going outside Yerushalayim, number one, try to be makbid if you are going to wash at somebody's Suda to wash before Chatzos. And number two, make sure you don't fill yourself up too much that when it comes to Shabbos, our Shabbos over here, or any Shabbos, wherever you are in the world, you make sure that you have enough space to be able to eat, otherwise there's no covered Shabbos. Now, I don't want to go into all the different sheetahs of what happens if a person later than Chatzos. Can I start? Of course you can, but I'm not going to go into all these divisions because most of that is not negated to us at this moment of time. What is one more thing that's Nageya is Poris Mappa or Makadish. Right? We'll get then Daf Yomi Mitzvah Hashem. Poris Mappa or Makadish basically means a very interesting thing, and I know people are doing that this year and people like to do that. I personally generally don't do it. If you were here, was it 2 years ago? Where did we have it in Yerushalayim? Was it last year or 2 years ago? Last year it wasn't, right? I think it was 2 years ago. No, maybe it was even more, maybe it was 3 years ago. I don't remember. But we had Purim a few years ago on Erev Shabbos, and we were deciding what should we do with the yeshiva. Should we do Poris Mappa Makadish, or should we do what I just said, or start earlier and then finish? Poris Mappa Makadish means that you start, come Shabbos, you cover you take a tablecloth, you cover the table over, you basically make Kiddush, and then you continue eating the Suda. So it's one big Suda that started off as a Purim Suda and ended off as a Shabbos Suda. Poris Mappa, no, you continue eating. I'll get to that in a minute. I'll try to go through quickly a little bit of the halachas, but that's the shaila. We didn't want to do that. I don't remember why. Maybe it was more of a practical reason, I think. So we did the Suda, we stopped, we cleaned up the house, reset the table. You came back Friday night, you saw the table mamish fresh, clean, everything was out, and we started another Suda all over again. Unbelievable. But Al Kaponim, the problem with Poris Mappa Mekadosh is there's a Magen Avram that the Magen Avraham brings in Reish Ayin Aleph Sukkot Yud, the Baal Nefesh should not do this. He said the person shouldn't do this. I don't want to go through now all the details why he holds you shouldn't do that. Right? There's a Chavisya that holds that way. Rabbi Yashav Zatzal Paskin that you shouldn't do it. Lemaisa, there are many posting that hold that it's fine and it's even lechatchila good. So I don't want to go into all the details because not again this year, maybe next year we'll discuss it more barichas. But if you do it, or if you know someone that's doing it and they say to you, "Oh, you're a yeshiva bacha, you for sure know this halacha. Could you tell me what to do if I want to do Purim Map on Makadosh?" So you will tell them that you will eat the Suda. At Shkia, you stop eating, because at Shkia there's a Chi of Kiddush, which we learned. Once Shkia arrives, there's a Chi of Kiddush. You have to stop eating and drinking at that time. You be Makabel Shabbos. You bring in Lechem Mishnah. You cover them over. You fill like a cup of wine. And you make Kiddush without making a bracha on Hagofen, because in the middle of eating in Kanai Nahara, how much wine you've already drunk already, right? So why would you make a you Hagofen? So you just make Kiddush to be Mekadosh the Yain, but you don't actually make Kiddush over there. And you cut the bread, no Natilas Tadayim. You bring in new challahs, no Natilas Tadayim, you cut the bread. What's that? You could do that. You could have Mabi, you have to be very careful, because if you have Mariv, you have to be careful of the hefsek. You know, how long of a hefsek you have between, you know, in the break. If the break is too long, then you have to wash again, it's going to make a whole situation. But if you sit right there, make a whole matzav, gavaldik, halabach. What? You could do that, no problem. Yeah, you could do Ma'ariv, Krishma, and then continue going, 100%. Make a shayma to make sure you haven't forgotten Krishma. Rabbi said that those are halachas that maybe next year we'll discuss maybe more orichas if we want to get to us. I wanted to mention it because there are wonderful Yidden on Torah Anytime and other places on Spotify and the app that are listening, so I just wanted to be yaitza all the shitas. Now, Rabbi Say, I want to talk about this shaila. Are you allowed to dress up like a woman? That is the shaila. So the pasuk tells us, Lo yilbash gever simlas isha. That Pasha is what that means, the Pasha Pshat in the Torah, and we've given share on this before, if you remember, I think it was last year, maybe the year before, we gave share on the inyonim of La Yilbash, and if brushing your teeth or brushing your hair is considered to be La Yilbash. Looking in the mirror, the Ramah says, obviously, is also. There are many halachas that are negated to La Yilbash that we're all familiar with, so I don't want to go, Rukivega said it's okay. Now, what will be Negeya is, if a person wants to dress up like a woman, it's probably not Negeya to anyone over here, although last year it was. Anyway, the question is basically like this. The Rambam says, people used to do this for Avodah Zorah. It's very, very interesting. And therefore that's what the Rambam says, don't do it. The brushing teeth, it's okay. You can do that. You have a head. Not on Shabbos, obviously. The Chinuch explains that it leads to znus. People would dress up and then they'd go into the other side of the Mechitza and Vamevin Yavin Vaita. Now, if that's the case, it's also to wear any garment that is muyuchad, specifically for a woman. Anything that's muyuchad, specifically for both. They have it nowadays. They have certain things. They have umbrellas. They have watches. They have all sorts of things that are muyuchad for everyone. And that nowadays, the world is getting a crazy place. They're making bathrooms that are muyuchad for everyone. Hashem Yirachim Abayis on the world. This is not what the Rebbeinu had in mind. Hashem Yirachim. But anyway, the idea basically explains the Bach. The Bach says a Gavaldig Zach. The Bach explains that the kavana is a very important yesod over here. Which means, says the Bach, if a person's kavana is not for that purpose, then it's okay. I'll give you a classic example, right? Let's say, for example, you're on a shidduch date, and it gets a little bit chilly outside. And you can see her, she's like really, really cold. So you're a good gentleman. So you take off your jacket, and you say, can I offer you my jacket, please? Right? Oh, very nice, very nice. Oh, she put that one in the notebook. Check. Okay. Now, the question is she allowed to? Yilbash, what's going on over here? Says the Bach, no, because the kavanah over here is pasha because she's cold, and everybody that sees that realizes that, and therefore there's no problem with it when your kavanah is not for any reason for this of dressing like the opposite type. It's more just, I'm cold, or for example, I only found a pink umbrella with yellow dots and Mickey Mouses on it. That's all I found, and it's raining outside. What do you want me to do? Nobody's going to assume anything. And therefore the Bach wants to hold away. We're not going to go into all the details now, because now we're not going to share on that. But that's just the Yisrael. On Purim, the Ramah on Tofrei Sadivov brings down that there is a minig of people to dress like the opposite type, and it's part of the celebration, and he said it's mutter, and he says why? Because it's l'simcha, and there are more paskins, it's okay. However, that being said, the chidah, Heilige Chidah, the Yosef yesterday, the Heilige Chidah, the Chachmas Odom, the Daiki Chiva, the Chavadas, the Rosh the Bach, the Taz, and the Mishnah Berurah Halacha L'Maisa do not like it, and they say that it should not be done. Rosh Hashiva Rav Shaimek Zatzal also paskin even for children, it should not be done. Chazon Ish famously also said the same idea that a person should not be doing this when it comes to even on Purim. Now, that does not include cosmetics, by the way. A person who wants to put some makeup, or sometimes they do his face paint or whatever, that's not called a Vaibish de Gazach, and therefore that would be okay. That's not included in the halachas that we are mentioning. What? A watch is? I'm not going into a watch right now. He told you to take it off? No. Oh, okay. Weiter. So the other question is something which is Nageya, and that is drinking and davening, right? One of the shilas, we all know that, Chana, the wife of Elkanah, the mother of Shmuel, went to the Beis Hamikdash, went to daven for a child, Eli HaKohen, the whole business over there, and he thought that she was drunk, and the Gemara in Brochas Laman Aleph tells us very clearly, learns from this thing, that it's also to drink and daven at the same time. The Mefarshim explain, only if you drank a revius, less than a revius is generally not a problem. So Ramon, Simon, Salites, and Chaim, Sikot and Gimel brings that if you drink a revius, there's no problem generally of davening, but if you're not able to speak in front of a melech, then it's also to daven even if you started. Tosfos and Erevin Samach Daled says it's mamash, you have to choyzem espalel, Tosfos paskins, you have to redaven. So basically, without going into all the details now, but if a person cannot be omid lefnei melech, madabel lefnei melech, speak normally in front of a king, then he should not be davening at that time. Wait till the alcohol wears off, or go to Naftali. He'll tell you a 7 in Shin Chov Ches that talks about one of the eitzes of how to get out of being drunk and how to sober someone up. But a person has to be careful. One of the last shaila that I want to discuss is a shaila. It's a very common shaila, and that is a shaila when it comes to drinking and the halachas of brachas. Now, after all, we were makabel the Torah ba'ava on Purim, and therefore we want to make sure that we want to keep the Torah. One of the shilas that are very, very negeya is when you're going from house to house and you're drinking, right? It's very negeya. You go into a house, you have a l'chaim, go to another house, l'chaim, another house, l'chaim. It's unbelievable. It's beautiful. The shaila is, what do you do the bracha v'shayna? What do you do the bracha v'shayna? You have to make a new bracha v'shayna every single time. So, in Achanami, it's a Gemara in Pesachim. It's also Shulchan Aruch, Vayin Ches, it's also Parach Halacha series, many different things that we can find about this inyan of Shina Mokim, which is a very, very gewaldige and chosheve inyan. But, without going into too many details, the basic idea is like this. The Rambam paskins that if a person makes a Shina Mokim, it's a hefsuk. There is a hesach hadas. Whenever there's a hesach hadas, you have to make a brand new bracha rishona. Not discussing bracha achroina right now, because that's Italian's man ikul, digestion. But when it comes to a bracha rishona, if, for example, you're sitting at the table and you drink a Coke, you wait 10 minutes and you drink another sip, you don't have to make a new bracha. But if you go outside the building, onto the street, and come back inside, 3.5 seconds later, and it's the same can of Coke, you have to make a new bracha v'shayna. Even though I made a bracha on my Coke, go outside to the street, answer the phone call, I come back, mamish, a few seconds later, to the same bottle of Coke, I have to make a new bracha v'shayna. It's called the Hesach Hadas, Shina Mokum. Now, without going into all of the details, it's negeya generally by non-mezoinus and non-hamoitzi. So, for example, all shahakols, hagofens will all be included generally. If that's the case, when you leave the house and you go into another house, for example, you go to a house, he says that Havalachayim, right? It's gewaldig for you guys because you're going from one to the other, but I had to sit there and for every person that comes in, can I know? But Al Kaponim, if you go inside, you're making a hagofen, you go to the next house. What's the din now in this situation? What happens now? So the answer is generally you have to make a new bracha. Why? Tashina Makkah, new house, new situation, with the Rosh Hashanah in between. The only difference would be sometimes is you're considered to be a holchei drachim. What's a holchei drachim? A holchei drachim means you would never kuveya your makim. Shina makim means this is my place. I'm here. I went out, I changed my place. That's when you have a problem of a new bracha. But in a situation where you would never kuveya your makim, I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, you're running out into the taxi and making a coffee. You make a coffee, so I'm just going to make a coffee, I'm going to run to the taxi. So I make a coffee here in the Beis Medrash, by the side. I make my coffee, it's very, very full. So I just drink a little sip, because I personally have to go out. And therefore I go outside. I don't have to make a new bracha when I go outside. Why? Because I was never kuveya my makim being here, and therefore I changed my makim when I left. I'm on the way out, I'm traveling, I'm walking, I'm going. For example, you go on a trip, you go on a hike, right? Bezos Hashem. There's people that are zoicha to stay for Pesach and Mitzvah Hashem. We'll do some hikes, right? So we're going to do some hikes. What happens? You make a bracha shahakol on your drink. You walk another 10 minutes. You make another bracha, right? Why? Because no, you don't there. Because there's a whole chadrochim. And there were kuveya my mokum. If you never kuveya your mokum and you're going from place to place, you don't make a bracha. When is this nageya? I'll give us nageya. It will be definitely nageya if you're holding a bottle of wine and a glass of wine. People have done these things. I've seen this. It's unbelievable. People walk in the street with a cup of wine. Even when it's not Purim sometimes, right? Anyway, so you're going with it, right? You're going from place to place. You're not going to have to make a new bracha. Even if you're getting his wine and his seat and then you're going to the next house, it's not a problem. Because I was never kuveya in my mokum. But a person has to be careful. If you are sitting down and you're drinking, and then you know what? I'm going to go somewhere right now. I'll go visit him, I'll come back, whatever. That's a shidduch makom. And unless you washed, if you washed, obviously there's no shayla. But if you didn't wash, then you have to be very, it's negayah to a cup of Coke, it's negayah to a drink of water, it's also negayah to a glass of wine. So therefore a person should be very, very careful in that case to make sure mekayim the halachas. We're going to be discussing tonight the inyan of Purim and how powerful the day of Purim is and how much we can accomplish on Purim, which we'll discuss tonight at 9 o'clock. Have a wonderful and beautiful day. Wow.